Radio can be through applications and keeps going when other forms of communication fail. Radio is used to communicate around the world, but it has become about more than communication. Look at your mobile phone. It probably has 5 or more different radios to receivers. One transceiver has 4 frequencies, but it might contain lots of others. Although they could be called. Radio See the story of radio unfolds here at the National Radio
So I'm going to talk about the digital TV repeater, GB3JV, Juliet Victor. So I'm a member of the British Amateur Television Club, and there are quite a few people stateside also members. So there's a lot of collab goes on. And but I'm a repeater keeper for GB3JV, which is based in southeast London. That repeater transmits at 2 megasymbols per second, DVB-S2. DBS2, and it transmits ERP about 150 watts on 3.4 gigahertz, 3404. Now, the 3.4 gigahertz band has been sort of squeezed by the cellular people, the 5G people, and we've still got 10 megahertz worth. So it's a really good band. It's a really quiet band, and you can buy either a 3.4 gigahertz LNB, C-band LNBs quite easily. The best ones to buy are the ex-VSAT ship ones, which you can get from shipbreakers yards in India on eBay. So that's my favourite. Yeah, exactly.
Now, is this like slow scan TV?
No, this is high definition. High definition. So yeah.
15, 30 frames per second? Or?
No, it's full. Our standard here is 25/50.
Wow.
So this is if I full screen this, on the Mac here. What you have here is the test card currently going out. I do put other articles out. Bits about amateur radio reviews and things when the repeater's in beacon mode, and also a lot of the NASA stuff is copyright free. So I've utilised some of the more interesting NASA stuff as well, where it crosses over amateur radio.
Is it fairly active? You got a lot of people on this.
Reasonably active, yeah. It's quite sophisticated. I mean, it's all digital. The components of the repeater. Just to say, the RF side is an exciter board and encoder, H.264 encoder and exciter, all in one, designed by a German company. So it's a single board solution I'm using there. And the power amplifier is an X82 16E amplifier UK broadband used to use called WiMAX. So it used to be a WiMAX band.
Wow.
So you can buy these, for £100 or so, with beautiful Class A linear amplifiers, 1 milliwatt in,
Can't be an
15,
amateur
20
radio
watts
operator.
out.
Don't look for a bargain somewhere.
Exactly. So I've got a few of those made by Stealth Microwave, actually. That they are, and that goes into a slotted waveguide for the antenna. So it's slotted, so it's horizontal radiation. The inputs, there's an input on 437 megahertz at either 1 mega symbol or 333 kilosymbols, and that's auto switching. And there's another input on 1249 megahertz, either 2 mega symbols or 333. Okay. The antennas for 23 I'm using a flat plate from a company called Wimo in Germany, and on 70 I'm using a big wheel, which is really effective. And the best range into the repeater has been about 300 miles from the north of England,
Wow,
and
that's pretty darn
and Devon,
good.
the southwest as
Yeah.
well. On both 23
When you're
and
transmitting from a remote location, you have to have a fairly good setup as well. I would think.
yeah, these were portable operators. Well, the guy from Devon wasn't. He was from home, but you get a little bit of a lift on, especially temperature inversion on 23, and off you go. It doesn't really matter where you point the aerial. You get, but
I would have thought it would be more precise.
yeah, no, we're getting quite a few those sort of lifts.
So you get a lot of skip then.
Yeah, you can do on those bands. It's quite impressive, what can happen. So that's the output, just on test card at the minute. But that and also the stream input. So in fact, let's do that. Let's just show what stream input looks like. So if I use Larix, and unfortunately this is not a bought version of Larix, it's going to have their logo all over it. But if I start transmitting into the repeater, there is some delay, of course.
Hello. Welcome to the GB3JB web stream input.
Some delay.
Session is being recorded. Welcome to the
So
GB3JB
there's an example.
Session is being recorded.
Yeah.
Welcome to the GB3JB.
So what I've
Goodbye. 73s and 88s. Goodbye. 73s and 88s.
What, you have a
Da-dee-da.
special app on your phone?
Yeah, that's Larix, okay, and it means I can stream into the repeater stream input. So we've got a stream input, so if you're out of range, you can still get into the repeater and join in.
So you have an internet connection at the repeater?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right, and I'll tell you about that as well, actually. So you got the stream input, you've got the stream output, you've got the RF output, which you can receive on any satellite tuner or built-in satellite tuner with the aid of a C-band LNB. Okay. These LNBs tend to need a bit of filtering actually because of the amount of cellular that's around on that band. So I've got a 3.4 gig flat plate antenna in my house and an interdigital filter after that to clear up any cellular that's knocking around
So
that
you
band.
can go, have net on the video and
Yeah.
several people can be on using
Yep.
phone or laptop or...
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Wow.
we can even do picture-in-picture because if I come to the web portal now, I'll shut down VLC there. So this is the repeater's website, and if you're registered, you then have control where you can actually switch inputs or do picture-in-picture, go to test card, or just reset it all by pressing the K button, put the ident up. But also, when somebody goes into the repeater, this is another little thing that is quite fun. Let me just bring that up here. I can't see it here, but basically, all the users of the repeater get a Slack notification that the repeater's in use as well. So it sort of drives people to go and watch it and perhaps respond as
A
well.
couple people have the QSO on
Yeah.
on that. You can come in as a third
Yeah.
person and do like you're doing.
Yeah.
Break.
Yeah.
Come in and then you
Yeah.
each pop up in the window.
I do it as a picture-in-picture as well. So you can have two people on the screen at the same
You've got
time.
bandwidth to handle multiple people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the other thing you've got is I mentioned Slack there. The other thing you've got is the in the UK we have an ATV talkback channel 144.75, and that channel I've got a receiver on the sound channel of the repeater. So if anybody comes up and makes a comment just from 2 meters, that can come through the sound as well. So you know, even if you haven't got TV kit, you can still watch it online and then talk to the guy who's transmitting.
Well, that's pretty clever.
And it's nice. I've got it covered with 103.5 CTCSS as well, just so we don't get noise and things through.
So you built all that?
Yeah. It's quite a decent little repeater actually, and it being in London, of course, it covers. If it doesn't cover many miles, it may be. I mean, 15 miles or so. But you know, if you're on a reasonable hill. But the thing is, it's a massive population coverage. You've got several million in that coverage area. So it's.
I was wondering how big London's got. Atlanta's getting close to 9 million now.
Yeah. Wow.
Traffic's moving.
Yeah. Lots of traffic.
We're going to London. Yeah. We're staying in the Cosmos now, but
yeah.
I didn't bring any radios with me because packing and.
Yeah, I know what you mean. If I just show you something, I use Home Assistant a lot in my home, and the repeater is all monitored using Modbus. And I've got an integration here with Modbus. This allows me to do remote shutdown of the repeater, and obviously there's an app on the iPhone as well.
So if somebody's getting a little carried away, you can...
Well, it's not that. It's more one of the requirements Ofcom, our version of the FCC, is to shut down within 30 minutes in event of a problem. Yeah. So I achieve that remotely. And I can turn it off, and also I'm monitoring the return loss and the temperature of the power amplifier there as well. So you can see that those, and that's using Home Assistant Modbus integration, and I'm using one of these Chinese Modbus RTU, TCP RTUs for interface with.
Pieces and parts to get this all to work, didn't you?
Yeah, it's quite a bit. I mean, I've got a bit of a background in telemetry and telecoms and stuff, so it kind of helps. But I sort of had it, and the video switching, and you probably saw the little digital on-screen graphic with the logo and etc. That's all done with a Blackmagic 8M Mini Pro. And the other thing the Mini Pro does, when the software I'm using to pull it all together is BitFocus Companion, and I'll show you Companion quickly. It's rather neat bit of, I think I've got it, Safari actually. Yeah, so this is my panel where I've got a few more controls. But if I go into BitFocus Companion proper, and if I just bring in the password there and unlock. Right, here we've got the integration. So the Blackmagic Design 8M, Hyperdeck, which is actually a media player, Blackmagic media player. Actually, I'm not using Hyperdeck. I'm actually using a Raspberry Pi emulation of Hyperdeck, written by one of my colleagues who's here today, you know. Then Slack integration as well for the notifications, and VLC. And VLC is used for all the audio announcements you hear on the repeater. So the 8M has 4 HDMI inputs. So one's the media player, one's a 77 input, one's a 23 input, and one is the web stream input. Okay, so they're the 4 inputs. Then it's also got 2 analog inputs, audio inputs. One is the 2 meter receiver, and the other one is actually an audio feed from the site PC, which is a little Nook type Chinese Nook, which is the audio from VLC, which does the announcements and what have you. So it's kind of quite cheap to put together. Yeah.
We haven't got anything quite that sophisticated. We just acquired a second repeater. Mm-hmm. And we're getting ready to use using the 5 gigahertz band to link them, so we can have both of them running simultaneously. Because being in the mountains, you know, you almost need multiple repeaters to cover.
Yeah.
Because the topography is so challenging.
Yeah. So what this is triggers. This is basically a scheduler, mainly for the media player. So, at 2 a.m., this will happen, okay? And if we look and see what happens then, you can see voiceovers too. It's a time check for 2 o'clock. It does a chime, and it does a time check. So on the hour, every hour is a time check. The other thing that happens on the air is we put up a logo and an on the hour logo. So you'll see this one, GB3. If we look into there, it actually plays GB3 JV Globe high definition movie from the media player, and switches, make sure the media player is operational and stuff.
Once an hour?
That happens every hour, yeah.
Our repeaters have to do it every 10 minutes.
Okay, so with TV, digital TV, of course, it's sent every 100 milliseconds as part of the stream. And you also envision the test card or whatever, or the logo in the corner has it. Yeah. I do it in sound only on the hour, but to be honest, it's sent in vision and as part of the channel ident anyway on digital TV, like any digital TV. So
this is really impressive.
Now, these are, for example, at 10 a.m. for example, this is actually plays a media clip which lasts an hour. They're all set to last an hour. So it's a complete schedule. It's like a robo-jock, really. It just runs the media show. But if anyone accesses the repeater, that happens. As a NASA about Mars there, for example, it's played at 2300.
So this software you're using, was that something you developed?
No, it's open source. It's used a lot by creators and studios, called BitFocus Companion. But the advantage of it is it integrates with many other products, including the Blackmagic A10 and including the Hyperdeck, the media player, and everything else. So it's really, it's not designed for this, but you can use it as a repeater controller.
It's just amazing.
And when a signal is received on a repeater input on a receiver, which is a BATC RIDE receiver, same as we're using out there, which I can show you in a few minutes. When you receive, what actually happens is the receiver, the software's been modified to send a webhook, and the webhook goes to BitFocus. And if you look at the buttons, and if we look like a button, for example, here, the 70sem input, you'll see these are the actions. When I press the button, these are the actions, and it fades the audio down. It switches the input using a fade or a wipe, or however you've got it set up. It runs a macro to do that. It's instructor, and there's some delays in there, and ultimately, what it does is then it puts the logo up, and puts the announcement out with VLC. It's just a series of things, and right at the bottom here, what you see is there's a webhook, HTTP press bank 1 2. That's 1 2. So it's like a matrix. So that's bank 1. Is the whole screen. There's multiple pages and banks. So address 1 2 is that one, okay, which is what we're pressing, and that webhook is what's sent from the receiver to effectively press that button to select that input when the receiver gets a valid signal.
This is a good example of why amateur radio is so important, because let's say you have some young people in here that were interested in learning this.
In the software.
This is like a master class in how to set something like this up.
To be honest, it's a systems integration operation.
Really is. You hear a lot. I know a lot of us that are older in the hobby said it had a big influence on our careers.
Yeah.
And you can see why. Just the logic that you had to go through to put this together is amazing.
These are all other integrations supported by this open source software. There are a lot of Blackmagic products in there, Canon cameras, all sorts of things. It's just like Denon AV kit. It's just Elgato. I do actually have funny enough, this is actually emulating Elgato. There's actually it's emulating Elgato. I've actually got physical Elgato. I don't actually need it. I can just run it as an emulation. So it's Stream Deck. It's fun, but you kind of you try and work out what you want to achieve. You draw some flow diagrams, and actually on the website gb3jv.co.uk, you'll find there's, I'm pretty sure, let's go to the website. If we go to the home page, or maybe there's a load of information on the home page. There's technical. I think in the technical you'll find. There's the flow charts for how it works. That's gb3jv.co.uk, and it's all in there. American amateurs are very welcome to get a stream key if they want to transmit into the repeater. They would have to apply and give evidence of license, etc. But as long as you're a valid radio amateur, there's no reason why we shouldn't give you access. The favourite is Open Broadcast Studio (OBS) to stream into the repeater. Yeah, that's easy to set up. And actually, on the website, we give instructions how to do that.
The company, DJI, that makes this thing, has a nice little webcam that has follow me features.
Yeah.
Which would be lovely for this.
Yeah.
Then you can move around your chair or whatever.
Yes.
Keeps it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll show you a couple of other aspects. I mean, one of the things we're very lucky to have in large parts of the world, unfortunately not North America, but they have managed to gain access from Newfoundland. But this is the Oscar 100 geostationary satellite. And as you can see, the coverage map, Africa, a bit of Brazil. I say Newfoundland's been done, on narrowband anyway. Right away, India, China, Russia. And I was watching a station the other day from Malta, for example, and certainly Brazil. And there are two transponders. There's a narrowband transponder and a wideband transponder. The narrowband transponder here is what you're seeing on screen here with this SDR display, RSP1A. And but we have a wideband transponder as well, and that's we show out here. This is the wideband transponder. This is a British Amateur Television Club design called a mini tuner, and this is a ride receiver running on a Raspberry Pi here. Okay, and we've got a commercial touchscreen, point-of-sale touchscreen, and behind this panel here there's a display PC. Okay, and what we're seeing here is spectrum. That spectrum is actually coming from a receive site in Goonhilly in southwest of England, and this is the this signal here is the repeater beacon, and the other signals are TV amateurs transmitting up to the satellite in 2.4 gigahertz, and we're coming down on 10498 in the case of the signal we're watching right now. And visitors to the National Radio Centre can touch on a signal, and here we are. What's this one? DBS2 QPSK 34 M0PIT. Actually, it's just gone back to him. Sorry, let's go back to that one. I meant to swap to another channel. G8KOE, for example, saying what he's running, H265 AAC sound. And that's straight off the satellite. So it's another aspect of...
So you're just seeing what he's not seeing us. You're just
No, we're just watching him right now. Yeah. If you want to transmit, it's up on 2.4 gig to the satellite. We've just got an 85 centimetre dish outside to receive this. Nothing particularly sophisticated. This receiver, by the way, is exactly the same receiver I'm using on the repeater. This is a standard design developed here in the UK by BATC members, and with some inputs. This design largely originated in France. This is the BATC implementation of it. There's a new version called the Pico Tuner, which is actually has an Ethernet output, so you can stream from it. This one's USB, and we're hoping this is some time off, but The Raspberry Pi 4 has both H.264, H.262 and H.265 decoders. The 5 doesn't have anything, it relies on software, but we think on the 5, especially with a GPU added, we may well be able to do H.266 decoding as well. This signal here, 125
do that
symbols.
to cut the bandwidth down a little bit.
Yeah, but in better quality, it's kind of...
Yeah, I do my videos in 265 right now,
Yeah.
DaVinci Resolve.
Yeah. I use Resolve as well, you know, I love it. I've got the speed editor as well.
Yeah, I do too.
And I use that to produce the media stuff for the TV
A little bit of a
repeater.
learning curve on that, but
Yeah.
it's a great piece of software.
It is, yeah.
You can't be
It's
surprised.
fantastic. No, I mean, I bought, I've got the studio version of software.
too.
It came with the
That's what I did.
speed editor.
Yeah.
You know,
That's too good of a deal.
It was a brilliant deal. I thought, yeah, I'll have
I'll
that.
take that. Yeah.
So,
Can you show me around in the other part
yeah,
of the
sure,
room, too?
sure. Yeah. Anyway, there's amateur TV. I'm a bit passionate about amateur TV myself, you know. So in here we have. Maybe I should start at this end. Actually, we'll start at this end because we have visitors looking here. This equipment here was belonged to. I'm not sure if that one's on there. Belonged to King Hussein of Jordan, JY1, and this was his UK station. He had a station in Jordan as well. That's a national treasure, so obviously that would stay within Jordan. But this is the English station, and we were absolutely delighted to have this donated to us by his wife.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of people have worked JY1.
Is he still active?
No, he's passed. You know,
I didn't realize
SK. Yeah, but he was very well respected. You know, a lot of people. Apparently, he was very modest. He never. I never worked him, but he never announced. He just said he was Hussein from Jordan. You've never, you know. He was very modest.
We have a ham radio operator. He's a guitar player for the Eagles.
Oh yeah.
You know, Joe Walsh.
Yeah.
He's an amateur extra. And if you hear him on the air, he's really low-key. He doesn't mention that.
Wasn't that long ago when saw the Eagles at Wembley Stadium. So,
Joe Walsh is the guitarist. He's an amateur extra.
Yeah.
He's really quite...
Well, Walter Cronkite, of course, was the other famous American presenter, wasn't it? Yeah. We've got a few. We've got Weatherman, Jim Bacon, who's a ham, and there's Radio 4 announcer, BBC Radio 4 announcer, who's also he comes on from Broadcasting House. I chat to him sometimes, you know. So but this ICOM box here. I have to say, this is probably the best receiver I've ever played with. You know, you can tell the age. It's got CRT for the display, but the lack of noise on it, it really puts the digital people to the modern digital radio. It's a shame. Obviously, it's got a rather a price premium, you know, in real terms. This was an expensive piece of kit in its day, you know.
Who makes that?
ICOM. Yeah, it's a 7, 8. What is it? I can never remember the model numbers of these things. 781. Yeah, 781. Nearly right. 781. So that was King Hussein Jordan's. This is low Earth orbit satellites. We have a steerable antenna system, azimuth elevation. I think it's a Yaesu antenna rotor, and that's tied up to the Kenwood box here. The antenna. So as the satellites move around, we can track them, and it also does the Doppler shift compensation by altering the frequency as well. So this we tend to use just for the D-Star repeater, the 9700 there. We have a 5000 there, 85,000, which is hooked up to a doublet. Okay, and on the right here we have a Flex 8800.
I've drooled over those for quite some time.
Well, this is Flex
like it?
slowness. I love it actually. I think it's it's me. It's digital, you know. But What's great about it is we've got it hooked up to a step IR, 3-element step IR.
Okay.
It's a controller for the step IR here.
That's the antenna you can adjust on the fly for the frequency you're on?
Yep. Obviously the azimuth rotating. You can see this when you go outside, actually just look up towards your right.
I think I did notice it when we walked in. I said, Barb, we're in the right place. Look at all the antennas.
And we have a Gemini 1 kilowatt linear there as well. I personally have 3 Geminis at home. I have a 6.4 500, I have the 2 meter 500 and the 77 300, and I run TV through them as well. We've done some TV, some of the guys have done some TV on 28 megahertz, got it over to the States as well.
Yeah.
I've certainly done locally DVT2 on 28 megahertz. So,
well, you've done quite a lot.
And on 4 meters on 70 megahertz, we actually, funnily enough, we actually have notice variation authorization for an extra 0.5 megahertz on 4 meters for TV, and on 2 meters we have also 146 to 147. We only have 2 megahertz on 2 meters, but we've got the extra megahertz for experimental wideband TV, and I've done quite a bit on 2 meters as well.
Yeah,
I've got a specially designed antenna.
Much going on in the States with the TV as much.
The other thing, our Ofcom, our version of the FCC, have made some changes to our license last February, and really, for example, one of the things we're allowed to do now is non-licensed people can operate amateur radio equipment under supervision, which is great for us because
people interested in the hobby.
Yeah, get interested, going to have a play with it as long as they're using our club call sign, our station call sign, and they can have a go.
We do that
which
on
is
the field day.
Brilliant.
We set up out in the park, and then people can come up and do that.
But this is as long as they're under supervision, anybody can use equipment under supervision. Which is great. The other thing we got for all the primary bands, we got 1 kilowatt, up from 400 watts, which was a limitation for a long time. But my argument, I think I might have been a bit guilty of suggesting this, but my argument is now we've got the ICNIRP, radiation regulations and what have you. I said, well, now we've got that, why do we have power limits?
Yeah, exactly.
I think
we're going through that now too.
Yeah. What's the point of a power limit? So it went in. It was suggested 1 kilowatt, and that was given. But I think Ofcom, frankly, with the new rules, or basically clearing out all the old rules, which were kind of past their sell by, and simplifying the license. It's really boosted. I think it's been a big boost to the hobby, and I think Ofcom have done a really good job in helping the hobby. They're very. We find Ofcom are very helpful towards the.
Yeah, RFCC is involved in so many things.
Yeah.
Amateur radios, like.
Oh yeah, same with Ofcom. It's.
And the ARRL, just like your association, is always working for benefits.
Yeah. RSGB as well, yeah. I was actually delighted. I mean, I responded to the consultation because government department did a consultation, and really it was nothing in there that I disagreed with. I made a few extra suggestions, but I felt very very positive towards what happened, and I think it's been great for the hobby, And let's face it, where are engineers born? Yeah. You're looking at one now.
Yeah, that's exactly It creates so many, engineering, computer sciences. I mean, you can go down a whole list of people that are technically inclined and are involved in the hobby.
Well, I get kids in here who are perhaps interested in, Arduino and so in microcontrollers and stuff like that. And often I get the parents saying, he or she is interested in this. How do we help it along? And I always tend to point them to Raspberry Pi and a couple of YouTube channels. There's a guy in the States does DroneBot Workshop, who's a great microcontroller. Yeah. And I always point them to that website because he takes through such a logical step, you know, for a kid to get into it. Once they're into it and maybe get into Meshtastic and stuff, they suddenly got the radio bug. Yeah. And where does this take you? Well, what did it take me? It took me, my first job was in high-speed tape duplication and recording studio. And very soon after I got a job with the BBC, I became a BBC engineer, and